I have over 100,000 followers across different social media platforms. And believe it or not, I'm here to tell you that a personal brand is very overrated. I see so many of you posting endless content into LinkedIn, Instagram, different social media platforms, and not getting anything out of it. You're wondering, how do I actually make sales? How do I actually make clients? And the two skill sets are very different. There's personal branding, and then there's sales and client generation and lead generation. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to create content that actually generates leads and generates sales for your business. My name is Tim Stoddart, and let's get started. Before we jump in, I always have outlines and written frameworks to go alongside of my videos. If you want a copy of this outline, just go to copyblogger.com/overrated. Okay, why personal brands are overrated. So most people who follow me know that I hate vanity metrics. Likes and shares and follows are inherently worthless. A like is within itself completely worthless. You don't get anything out of it. And so in this video, I want to explain to you the difference between being a creator and being an entrepreneur. I am not interested in being a creator. Creators create content for the sake of their content being seen. They want to be known for the thing that they created. I want to be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur creates content for the purpose of generating attention and awareness to his or her business to make sales and make money. So the purpose of my content is to generate leads and then convert those leads into deals or make sales. So first, I want to talk about this post that I saw from Hormozy. I like Hormozy. Out of all of like the business influencers, he's definitely one of the people that I look up to. And it's a really great relevant post. So she has 58,100 followers. Her average post gets 19 likes, took home 1 million this year. True story. I can really relate. This was exactly where I was at when I started my first business, my first agency, Stodzy. This is a real friend of mine. Her entire client acquisition comes from her 5,800 Instagram followers. Her average post gets 19 likes and one comment. Her business, so this is the really, really important part, right? She helps registered dietitians bill insurance correctly. Super niche market. As somebody who understands healthcare and understands healthcare billing, I can personally attest to the fact that this is a really, really difficult problem for healthcare practitioners to solve. And almost all of them need to hire outside help, whether it's software or consulting to bill properly. So I can definitely attest. She doesn't need 5 million followers. She doesn't need to hack the algorithm. She understands one simple rule. There is a real person on the other side of those views and treats them that way, engages with them that way. Some businesses don't need more followers. They need the right followers on their accounts. Beautiful, really well said. I love it. And so I'm going to walk you through the process that I went through to build relationships with people that turned out to be real customers, right? So here's the framework. I'm going to use Stodzy once again, as my example, right? Because when I first started Stodzy Internet Marketing, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. In fact, my first brand was Sober Nation. This was a directory and a media site. And I would post blog posts on Sober Nation every week. I mean, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. All I would do is write articles on Sober Nation. And we still publish a weekly article. I don't write them anymore, right? But they are still really, really relevant. And so this media, and more specifically, writing, the writing is what got me the credibility and the trust. So I'll summarize it here. The best way to get clients in the beginning is to write. By the way, AI is not going to write for you. If you're using AI to write the content, that kind of defeats the whole purpose, because you want to write personally, because writing helps you think. If you can be a good writer, then you can clearly articulate your arguments. You can clearly articulate your viewpoint within the industry. With your arguments, your viewpoint, you can establish credibility and use that to get clients. So Sober Nation was my writing tool. And in the beginning, Stodzy wasn't even a website. It was just like the company that I created. I needed a name, and my nickname as a kid was Stodzy. And so I created an LLC. I didn't have a Stodzy website, but I was generating a lot of the conversations that I was having through writing with Sober Nation. By the way, This is also totally the case, oops, excuse me, with Copyblogger. The written articles are by far like the most valuable thing that we have. We still write all of these articles. These are really valuable articles, and I use these to generate leads. And lastly, like I really practice what I preach here because my personal newsletter, even though I only have 15,000 subscribers, is still probably where I generate the most relationships and the most like phone calls that turn into real business. And this is all just because I take some time out of every day to write. So start with a newsletter. Substack works just fine. Write case studies. And I really, really love this. The whole point of your writing is not to entertain people. You're not trying to build an entertaining newsletter. You're trying to get people who are following you for your credibility, for your viewpoint. And so write case studies, document the process of you building your business, and promote your newsletter to professionals in your industry. So what I used to do is there was conferences. So go to conferences, right? Ask people to subscribe to your newsletter. What I used to do is I had business cards, and I hate business cards. Like I think they're super stupid because everybody always throws them out. But what I would do is I would go to conferences and my business card would just be my name, and then on the back it would just be the URL to my newsletter, right? So hand out business cards. The other thing I would do, this was like a real, it wasn't a secret, but it was something that I would do personally, is I would walk around to the conferences to all of the vendors, stop and talk with every one of them, really, really listen to them, take their business card, and then get their contact information and just subscribe them to my newsletter. Like I would do it over and over and over again. And it's definitely how I got my first like 1,000 subscribers. And guess what? That 1,000 subscribers turned into 2 or 3 clients. Before I knew it, through my agency, I was making $8,000 a month as like a punk kid who didn't know what he was doing. So the other one, visit all the vendors, get their contact, subscribe them. Another thing you can do, this is a little bit, it takes some money, but if you advertise in a lot of these conferences, if you sponsor it, you get the email list, right? So sponsor the conferences for the email list. And when you do this, you don't just subscribe them to your email list. You reach out to these people one by one and you build relationships with them. And then through that, you subscribe them to your newsletter. So build relationships. Don't just subscribe them because this is pointless. Like, what are you doing? This is the vanity metrics. You just want to say that you have subscribers into your newsletter, but who cares? You want money. You want cash in your bank account. All right, so let's talk about case studies for a little bit because this is something that I hear a lot, especially for people inside my community, people inside the academy. Usually people who join the academy are in the beginning stages of building their business, whether it's a client service business or selling courses or whatever. And they think, how do I get case studies? I'm just getting started. Nobody's trusting me. Well, let's talk about it, right? So in order to get clients, you need to establish 2 things: proof and trust. This is really, really important. You establish proof by showing your work. So you do this through writing. You just quite literally document what you're learning, what you're doing. You establish trust by showing them that you know what you're doing. So this is evidence, right? You establish trust by showing evidence. So one of the biggest problem that new business owners run into, and one of the most common questions I get in the Copyblogger Academy, is they say, I don't have any clients, so how can I get case studies? Well, you can do experiments for free. And I'm going to show you an example. In the early days of Stodzy, I used to just do breakdowns of other treatment center websites. Back then, there was very few treatment centers that had like really, really good SEO and really good site structure. One of them was American Addiction Centers.com. And even these guys over the last 15 years have like leveled up so much. 15 years ago, it looked nothing like this. It was like very, very basic, but they were still the best ones. And so I remember doing a case study on these guys and I got a lead from it. I remember very, very specifically getting the lead from it because I wrote it and I made a video and I posted it on Facebook and somebody watched my Facebook video and I got a lead from it. Also, You can use case studies as like proof that you know what you're doing. So I'll give you another example, and this one is actually very relevant because I just had a client meeting with this person yesterday who found me through YouTube. So this video right here, right? So if you watch this video, what I do in this video is I break down examples of different ketamine clinics. So how to get more leads and patients to your ketamine clinic. I quite literally break down examples of the ketamine clinics that are doing this local SEO service that I am selling, doing it well, and showing through proof, through evidence that this is an effective marketing strategy and that they should call me and they should hire me to do exactly this. And just yesterday, somebody from um, South Denver basically called me, hired me, and I went down there and I closed a deal from it. So I've gotten 2 deals from this one video with 434 views. I bullshit you not. Like, this is exactly what I still continue to do. And, we're talking semantics here, but I am still establishing proof, right? I'm still establishing that this case study is the way to do it. And through the content, I establish credibility and I establish trust. Do case studies, write them. You can also create long form videos, but even publish the video through your newsletter, right? All right, number 3, connect with industry leaders. Another great way to create written content is to do interviews. Most people see this and they think, okay, I want to do a podcast. Don't do a podcast. I got nothing against podcasts. They're great. But in the very beginning, it's just extra shit for you to manage and extra stuff for you to do. It is way better. It is way more time efficient to reach out to industry leaders, ask them if you could send them a couple questions and they would take a couple minutes to answer your questions through a written interview. And then tell them in exchange, you're going to promote their facility, their business, their whatever it is that you're doing. So there's some really, really great examples of this. And this is how I'm building my newsletter for Quantum Leads for my agency as well. So Tricycle Day, this is a newsletter that I've referenced a lot just because I think they're so cool. It's all about psychedelics, right? And once a week, they do a written interview with an industry leader. It's not rocket science, they send them a couple questions. They obviously do their research. They expect the person being interviewed to do a good job and maybe to be articulate and to really come forward with what they think and their expertise in the interview. And in exchange, they get a link. Take a look inside Chariot Centers in Portland, right? So this person gets to promote their healing centers in exchange for just taking 15 minutes to answer some questions. It's a really, really great way to do it. Another example is bhbusiness.com. I've referenced these guys a lot. This is more of like a media company that does news articles in the behavioral healthcare industry, but a lot of what they do is interviewing people. They need quotes. They need sources in order to write these stories. And then lastly, the Rundown AI. This is like a really, really great AI based newsletter. And so much of what they do is the exclusive. So this is a podcast, yes, and I understand that. But this is still a great way to establish proof, just having experts, leveraging other people's brands to establish your own expertise in the space. So all of this can be defined as case studies. All right. And then connecting with industry leaders. Last, create SOPs and systems. So now you get to the part where you can actually grow a little bit of a following. You can grow a personal brand, whether it's a personal newsletter, whether you name it after yourself or you name it after the company, who really cares? Like, people are going to get to know you as the writer of the newsletter. And, you can absolutely promote yourself. So Henry Winslow, and he's got all of his social profiles and he uses this to grow his social media account. It's really, really great. You should do that. But as your machine starts to grow, then what you do is you take the long form content, you take the newsletter and you chop it down into social media posts. So from this one newsletter, you can then build a system. You can hire a VA, you can do it yourself, you can use AI to help you. And you create short form content, schedule it out for a week, for a month, and then use that short form content again to generate subscribers to your newsletter, which you can then use to leverage your expertise and get clients, right? This is not a complicated system. This is all very, very simple, and it's way, way more effective than trying to be like a fucking influencer with 1 million followers. You don't care about that. You want to get money. You want to make sales to make your life easier, to get financial security. So first you create media around your company, and then you can create media around your personal brand. For example, I was in business for 10 years before I ever tried to establish a personal brand. And I only started doing this because it was COVID and I was bored. And Twitter was actually like a lot of fun back then before Twitter got ruined. And this is how my personal brand started. I was 10 years into business, well established in the behavioral healthcare industry with millions and millions in revenue before I ever started tweeting or doing a podcast or posting on LinkedIn or anything like that. I want to be well known in the industry, meaning I would be recognized at conferences. I spent a lot of times on meetings and on the phone. So this is the most important part right here. I just want to just like bold this and underline this and put this in red because this is really how you make money. All of the time that you will spend creating content and posting it onto social media is time that you are not networking, having conversations with people. This is it. Like, this is the thing right here. How can I just make this super big? This looks ridiculous. All of that time that you spend is time that you're not having conversations with people. Just today, I've had conversations with 3 new potential relationships that I believe something will come from it, whether it's business or deals to make my life better and increase my financial security. So, this is the whole point. As the business owner, this is what you want to be doing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Please smash that subscribe button. I'm just going to say it one more time because I want to drive the point home. Your job is not to be a creator. Your job is not to endlessly post content into the void. You want to create a system to do that because the purpose of that content is to book phone calls and to book networking opportunities and to create potential relationships for you so that you can add value into the world. The content itself is not the value you are adding into the world. You are the value. Your work, your insight, your expertise, your labor, your machine, your systems, right? That is the value that you want to sell. Social media and short form content and your personal brand is just a means to achieve that. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Please don't forget to go to copyblogger.com/overrated for a copy of the outline, and I'll talk to you next week. Peace.